Good morning, everyone. Wedgwood members, Wedgwood visitors, anyone who's joining us this morning, we welcome you to Wedgwood Church on Earth Sunday. We are really glad that you are here. And we always begin our morning with our announcements. Announcements and upcoming events. Next Sunday, Ashanti will be speaking. With my story, we believe at Wedgwood that part of our growing and learning and healing is by telling our personal stories. And Ashanti will be telling her story next Sunday morning, April 25th. And then on May 2nd, Kyle Kusick, who has spoken before, is I'm not sure what the title is, of the Atheist and Agnostic Society of Charlotte, will be speaking about discrimination. And this will be his return to Wedgwood as well. Our Social Justice Book Club, Thursday evenings, the next meeting is April 29th. If you are just joining the book club, read through chapter 7. That sounds like a lot, but it's not really, because this is a real page turner. If you need to know how to find the book, just contact me or contact Wedgwood Church and we'll show you the links to purchase the book. Social Justice Committee will meet again on May 11th. Anyone's welcome to join that committee at any time. We do not have elections for committees. Committees are wide open for anybody to join at any time who has an interest in that particular area of work. So we'll be meeting again May the 11th. Just contact the church and we'll give you the Zoom link for that meeting. The Children and Youth Committee will meet again in May. That date is to be determined. I'm not sure if we have a date for the next PB&J. It's the first week in May. Liz, is there a date for that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, that's forthcoming, but be ready for the first week or so of May. We are still working with Queen City Assisted Living. If you would like to adopt a resident there, it's no contact adoption. You're their friend, and they'll let you know what you can do to help that person. People who really do not have family or relatives that give them any support. We are still encouraging to contact our state representatives on these House bills and Senate bills that are attacking our transgender youth. So please be sure to do that. There's more information on our Facebook page and in our newsletter, or you can contact us if you need to know more. Chad told me as of yesterday, there are 40 slots still available on April 22nd to get the COVID vaccine. So if you have not had it or know someone who has not had it, this is a great opportunity. The vaccine will be given at the same location as the Wedgwood and Hearts Beat as One food pantry all day on the 22nd. Contact us for more information. Look in your newsletter and on our Facebook page. The link is posted there for you to sign up or to share with a friend. Food pantry. Just to note that the hours are now 5:30 to 7. They are staying open a little later. If it's daylight a little later, the needs list has been updated. You see that here on your screen. If you would like to make donations to the food pantry, make your check out to Wedgwood Church, and then in the for line, put for the food pantry. Liz, anything else?
Yeah, just a quick note. So those hours don't start until next week. This week, it's still 5:30 to 6:30, and the 5:30 to 7 p.m. hours will start next week.
Okay. Liz, I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, so we are, as Wedgwood, we are members of the Mecklenburg Interfaith Ministry. And it's a really amazing coalition across the county, really, of churches, synagogues, all sorts of spiritual groups. And they are putting on an interfaith summer camp in June. And it's a really, really wonderful opportunity for youth. It is in person, but they are following very, very strict COVID protocols. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can attend one of these two meetings on Zoom, April 22nd or April 24th. And the Zoom link is down at the bottom.
That sounds like that's going to be a fun experience. And I believe I saw somewhere it said scholarships are available.
Yes, there are some scholarships available.
Church giving goes on, even though we're on Zoom, we have bills to pay. There are several ways that you can support us by mailing your offerings, texting, or Venmo. So we hope that you will, thank you to those who do God giving regularly, and we hope no amount is too small. So we hope that you will sit in your heart to help support Wedgwood Church. This is our contact information. Don't hesitate at any time to reach out to us. Check out our new webpage, phone number, email. Just reach out anytime you have a need or a suggestion or an idea, and let us know. All right, then we will get ready to begin our service with our prelude.
A reading from Eric Williams. Blessed is the sky and all that is warm and filled with light. Blessed is the air and all that is open and free. Blessed is the earth and all that is steady and firm. Blessed is the sea and all that is hidden and deep.
Welcome to this Earth Day service at Wedgwood Church. Like so many days, this day holds wonder and sorrow. Earth Day was first celebrated on April 22nd, 1970, as a day to honor the earth and to participate in environmental teach-ins. Since then, the environmental movement has grown in this country, and environmental awareness permeates much of our society. At the same time, the environmental problems we face have grown as climate changes, which had already begun in 1970 but was barely recognized at that time. But it has had graver and deeper impacts on our earth. Problems with consumption and other environmental degradation has grown with the world's economy and the world's population. There are promising signs too. Alongside these problems, people have begun working for solutions. In the process, we're healing some of the other hurts of our society. Today, we join together to hold our hope and our pain together, to honor Earth, and to recognize how deeply our relationship with Earth and our work for environmental justice is intertwined with all of our spirituality. The Wedgwood values and principles state, we believe in honoring the interdependent web of life that shares our environment and ecosystem, and seek to live in harmony with nature, to conserve the earth and achieve clean air and water. Wedgwood is partnered with a group, Green Faith. Green Faith states as their goal, because all people are sacred. Because all people are sacred. We are building a worldwide multi-faith climate environment movement. Wedgwood is currently working on partnerships with other environmental groups. This is not the work of one day. Earth Day has to be every day. One person or one group, but it's the work of all of us. And on this day, we honor the earth. And Thomas will lead us in our extravagant welcome.
We are all welcome here. Welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth. An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy. We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers striving to learn and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders. Like Jesus, we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day. One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story. We are all welcome here.
We are all welcome here. And now we will have our children's moment. So if you have any children, gather them around. And if there's no children on Sunday, we are all the children.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Earth Sunday.
Hello.
So you may notice that I'm outside today. And that's because I have been spending a lot of time in my backyard where I have a couple gardens. See, I've got some flowers over here on my deck where they get lots of sunshine. And you can kind of see over there, it's a little bit more shady. I've got a shady tropical garden going on. And this garden has been really special to me because this past year has been really difficult for everyone. And one thing that's really helped me through is being able to go into my back garden and enjoy the sunshine and the trees and all of my plants. Sometimes I even like to lay in my hammock, which you can see behind me, and listen to the birds singing their songs. They are also really happy that it's springtime. And you know, I also love taking care of the birds. I love taking care of my plants and my flowers, but the birds are also really wonderful. And I've got a couple different types of bird feeders for all the different types of birds in my neighborhood. And one day I'm even hoping to have some hummingbirds, so we'll see. You know, as I spend more time outside, I've been thinking a lot about Wedgwood. In our extravagant welcome, we say, welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth. And just like what Melba read in our core values and principles, we also say, we believe in honoring the interdependent web of life that shares our environment and ecosystem and seek to live in harmony with nature to conserve the earth and achieve clean air and water. And I love that. You know why? Because here at Wedgwood, every Sunday is Earth Sunday. Honoring nature and thinking about how we as humans are connected to the earth and to the plants and the animals is a part of who we are as Wedgwoodians. And that makes me so happy. It also reminds me of how important it is to take care of Mother Earth. We have a big responsibility to make sure to take care of the earth so that everyone can have clean air to breathe, fresh water to drink, and good food to eat. And not just for us, the animals too. It's up to each and every one of us to do our part to take care of Mother Earth so that all of creation can enjoy our planet for generations to come.
Thank you very much. And I know that we'll all work hard to do that this week and in the future to help take care of Mother Earth. And then we go to our time of celebrations, prayers, remembrances, meditation. Prayer, remembrance this morning. Ashanti is not with us this morning. Ashanti has having a lot of back pain for the past 2 or 3 days. And she said she's been to the chiropractor twice, hasn't helped, and she's going to urgent care this morning. So we want to keep her in our thoughts and prayers this morning. Are there other prayer requests, celebrations, remembrances this morning?
I celebrate that our nation has rejoined the Paris Climate Accord on this Earth Day. And in many ways, it feels like we're rejoining the world. And I celebrate that.
Any others? Prayer requests, remembrances, celebrations.
Again, I'd like to pray for the hesitators. Give them the strength to do the right thing.
Yes.
Prayer for an end or something to happen with gun violence in America.
Yes. All right, well, we have a reading this morning before we go to our moment of silence. And our time of silence is a time used according to your personal beliefs, a time for prayer, a time for meditation, a time for self-reflection, or a time for this morning especially to reflect on our interconnectedness to the earth and all of the creatures and all of the life and how we can do better at being guardians of this beautiful earth that we have. Thousands of people, as well as animals and plants, die every year from the effects of global climate change. We remember you. To all those people lost to extreme heat waves, we remember you.
To all those people lost to floods, hurricanes, mudslides, and other disasters caused by changing weather patterns, we remember you.
To all those people lost to hunger as crop patterns change, we remember you.
To all those people lost to drought as weather patterns change, we remember you.
To all those people lost to disease as the environment shifts, we remember you.
To all those animals whose lives have been lost as global climate changes, we remember you.
To all those plant spirits, siblings of the green world, whose lives have been lost as global climates change, we remember you.
To all those species lost forever as global climate changes, we remember you.
To our oceans overwhelmed and our ocean life dying by plastic pollution, we remember you.
To all those people, to all those who are suffering from environmental injustice and environmental racism, we remember you.
To all the people of Flint, Michigan, who died and are still suffering from the effects of lead poisoning in their water, to all who are suffering from environmental racism, we remember you.
We remember you, and we commit ourselves to restoring balance. So may it be.
So may it be.
So may it be.
May it be.
And now we'll have our moment of silence. Amen. Jennifer Roberts sends her regrets that she could not be with us this morning, but she is engaged with Earth Sunday at her own church. So she has pre-recorded a message just for Wedgwood Church this morning. Jennifer Roberts was raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, a graduate of East Meck High School, went on to attend the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill on a Moorhead Scholarship. Roberts earned 2 master's degrees in international affairs from Johns Hopkins University and from the University of Toronto. She worked as a diplomat for 4 years with the United States Department of State, serving in the Dominican Republic, and then as a political officer in Mexico before she returned to live in Charlotte. She was chair of the Mecklenburg County Commission 2006 to 2011, where she was instrumental in creating a public-private partnership to build a new shelter for survivors of domestic violence. She was elected mayor in 2015. She has been a lifelong advocate for clean air and water and for environmental justice. While chair of the Mecklenburg County Commission, she championed a park and rec master plan, supported energy reduction and conservation in county operations, and headed a Clean Air Works initiative to reduce carbon emissions in area businesses and the county's carbon footprint. As mayor, she signed the Mayor's Climate Pledge and introduced a clean energy resolution for the city of Charlotte. I could go on and on about this highly accomplished woman. She is now director of the Communities Program at Eco America, a nonprofit based out of Washington, D.C., that grows the base of support for climate solutions in America with research-driven marketing, partnerships, and national programs. So now we will hear from Jennifer Roberts.
Good morning, Wedgwood Church. My brothers and sisters and siblings, I'm Jennifer Roberts. I'm a grateful mother and wife and a resident of Charlotte. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you. It's Earth Month because Earth Day is coming up April 22nd. And today, April 18th, is also a great day because it's my birthday. Thanks for having me join you. I want to start with a land acknowledgement. Many of us live on land that is not our own, and we acknowledge that here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we are on the ancestral land of the Catawba and Sugaree nations, and that our federal and state governments carried out genocide and forced removal of the Catawba and Sugaree in order to acquire land. The river we get our water from is called the Catawba, which means river people. We are mindful of our broken covenants and promises, and we honor the land. Without the gifts of the earth, we would perish. Let us remember that we belong to the land and to each other. And I also honor the Catawba and Sugaree who still reside here and continue to bring their talents and gifts to our region in spite of the continued colonialism and oppression. I also acknowledge that I am a white woman and I have known the privilege of being in a white body, and that's a privilege that I did not earn. Thank you for inviting me to speak during the month that we focus on Mother Earth, on creation care, and on environmental justice, and on honoring that fragile balance of nature and mankind, and our responsibility to care for nature and to care for our planet. You know, every major faith tradition holds that the natural world is sacred. The first precept of Buddhist ethics is to not kill any living creature. The explanation goes beyond merely harming to being full of compassion for all beings. Humanity is always considered as embodied within our environmental context. In Islam, I'll read a quote from the Quran. See that thou not to God bow down and worship all things that are in the heavens and on earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the hills, the trees, the animals, and a great number among mankind. The world is beautiful and verdant, and God has appointed you as his stewards over it. He sees how you acquit yourselves. In Sikh scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib is the perpetual embodiment of the light and the 10 gurus. The gurus looked upon the planet Earth as a nurturer, a teacher, and a servant to be used, to be respected, and to be loved. Here's a message of living in harmony with Mother Nature from the Holy Scriptures of Hinduism. Live in complete harmony with nature. Experience the grace of God and the splendor of the universe. Be blessed by God's reassuring love. The sweet dawn will sweeten your soul. The dazzling midday will set your hearts aflutter, and the serene music of your soul will guide you towards peace and prosperity. When the day's task is over, you will sleep in the lap of Mother Nature, and the deities will be favorable to you. And of course, in Christianity, we know that there are many passages that honor nature. Here's one from Psalm 104. He makes springs pour water into the ravines. It flows between the mountains. They give water to all the beasts of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. The birds of the air nest by the waters. They sing among the branches. He waters the mountains from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied by the fruit of his work. He makes grass grow for the cattle and plants for man to cultivate, bringing forth food from the earth. The idea that nature is sacred and essential to human life as well is broadly understood. But there are many aspects of mankind's relationship to nature and the result of what we are doing to nature that are not so well known. We know from scientific consensus, 98% of scientists around the world agree that global temperatures are increasing. And we also know this has mainly been caused by human activity. The last 5 years have been the 5 hottest years on record since we were recording temperatures. There are parts of our Mississippi River Delta that have experienced more than half of the year in flood conditions. Charleston, South Carolina, flooded 89 times in 2019. And North Carolina has been battered by more severe weather, consecutive hurricanes, coastal flooding and erosion, and wildfires in the West. So there are global consequences and local consequences. If we continue to put carbon into the atmosphere as we've been doing since the Industrial Revolution, if we continue to warm the planet as we are today, there are predictions that 300 million people worldwide will be forced from their homes because cities, islands, and coastal areas will be underwater and have to be abandoned. We're already seeing a crush of immigration at our southern border as farmers in Central America have seen their coffee trees wither from the increasing heat and their farmland has become unproductive. And so part of that border pressure that we see in the news every day is because of climate change. They have been forced to flee. Do you know that when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans over a decade ago, here in Charlotte, we received over 4,000 evacuees. Our neighboring city to the south, Columbia, South Carolina, welcomed 15,000. And we're more than 800 miles from New Orleans. So areas of the world that already know famine are going to see more famine. Desertification is going to continue to put stress and pressure. Heat and flooding are going to make crops, more difficult, lands less productive, fire seasons continue to grow, and battles over water holes and fertile land will continue, and poverty will increase. Every major religion tells us to love our neighbor. And by loving nature and working to keep from harming her further, we are also loving our neighbor. Because these disruptions, this severe weather, is going to leave many people homeless and fleeing and migrating and seeking out some place they can survive. The changing climate also has personal consequences. We know that warmer days are dangerous for the health of those who work outside, for our children who are playing outside, athletes playing on outdoor fields. Thousands of people die in the U.S. every year from heat-related illness. The air pollution that causes global warming, the greenhouse gases like methane and carbon, and the particulate matter that comes from burning coal, those are all bad for our lungs. And they can lead to chronic illnesses that impair our ability to work or study. What else a warming climate does? It also leads to an increase in pests that carry disease to humans, like ticks, fleas, and mosquitoes. The warming climate is a more hospitable environment for them. The loss of biodiversity in the planet and animal species that are going extinct has severe consequences for the food chain, for pharmaceutical research and discovery, and for every aspect of life on the planet. What we also know is that some are suffering from these impacts more than others. Again, every major faith tradition calls us to be our brother's keeper, to love our neighbor. But some of our Charlotte neighbors happen to be born in zip codes that automatically make them more susceptible to pollution, to chronic illness, to urban heat, to toxins in the soil. This is what environmental justice and climate justice are all about. In our history, and you may have read about this, about redlining and about Jim Crow and about the way that Charlotte grew and how we destroyed Brooklyn Village with urban renewal. We have consciously made policy decisions to redline certain neighborhoods, even before Jim Crow. And banks wouldn't lend to certain parts of town, and they rated certain areas of town more risky, and therefore only open to low-income folks who ended up being mostly Black and brown. It was harder for them to get loans. It was harder for them to get appreciated value in their homes. And city and county did not invest in those neighborhoods. You know, places like Hidden Valley, Greer Heights, Enderley Park. Instead, we zoned things like manufacturing facilities and coal plants and chemical plants and landfills and highways with all the vehicle emissions that they have that pollute the air. We zoned all of those near those neighborhoods, usually Black and brown communities. There are reasons that Black children in the United States are 4 times more likely to die from asthma than white children. So these neighborhoods did not receive investment. They did not receive trees that emit oxygen, which is essential for life, and take in carbon. They did not receive the nice sidewalks that make walking safer. They didn't get well-equipped parks for children to play in the shade. And during Jim Crow, Black children were not even allowed in public swimming pools. And so they had to splash around in our surface creeks and streams, which until 1972, we were dumping raw sewage into. Finally, the Clean Water Act made people clean up their streets and waterways. But until then, children were playing in toxic waters. And there are even challenges today with access to healthy foods. We know the west side of Charlotte has very little access to full-service grocery stores, places to buy healthy fruit and vegetables. As a white person, before I became involved in climate justice and climate change to the extent that I am now, I wasn't aware of those food deserts. I remember as a county commissioner when Dan Murray brought it up and asked the county for more statistics, looking at where was there access to healthy food. And as a physician, he understood the challenges that brought. As our summers grow hotter, we also know our outdoor workers are more at risk. And think about, who are our outdoor workers? Who do you see on construction sites? Who do you see on yard crews, painting houses, delivery vans, and of course in our farm laborers? Who are they? Mostly Black and brown people. And are they able to stop work or to pause because of 100-degree heat? I've not heard of any employers allowing people to take off time during the day to do that. I actually remember walking neighborhoods on the west side of Charlotte during my campaigns. And when I went to certain houses in Hidden Valley, people would open the door. I could feel the heat from inside the house. Some of our households can't afford to run their air conditioning on high. They're what we call energy burdened. Or maybe their air conditioning broke and they can't afford to fix it. When we say energy burdened and cost burdened, we know that that means many households in Charlotte are paying more than 30% of their income for their rent and their utilities. Do you know in the Duke Energy footprint the percentage of households that are cost burdened in this manner? 44%. Almost half of our neighbors. When there's a spike in heat and they either turn the air conditioning up or don't, they have to decide whether it's worth not getting any sleep because it's so hot or turning up the air conditioning and maybe not paying for one meal that week. We also know that when we have more of these toxins and more heat, that there are more illnesses. Again, we know that's a cycle of poverty. Children miss more school. Workers miss more hourly days. We also have seen spikes in violence and aggression on very hot days and very hot nights. We even have documented, there's a study out of UCLA that shows children perform more poorly on tests when it's really hot. So hot days impact school achievement and success. So we know that caring for nature, caring for creation and our climate has consequences that are hitting us now, and some of us more than others. But there's good news too. The good news is that we know how to help. We know what is going to solve our climate crisis. We know what is going to bring justice, environmental justice, to those communities that have been overlooked and overburdened with pollution. We can make personal changes. Every day we make decisions that make a difference, whether we take renewable or reusable bags to the grocery store so we don't have more plastic polluting our oceans. And plastic is a petroleum product, which is a fossil fuel. So yes, it's connected to climate change. So we can make those kinds of choices every day. We can choose, instead of driving everywhere, to get a bike. Maybe bike to the grocery store, walk if you're in a neighborhood where you can do that. Reduce the number of trips, buy an electric vehicle. Auto emissions are 1/3 of the carbon emissions for our country. Vehicle, trucks and autos. We can also eat less meat. We know the agricultural sector has a huge impact on climate change. We also know that a lot of the big meat companies are some of those who are paying for the misinformation around climate change because they see it as a threat to their industry. But we cannot continue on the path that we're on. So even if you cut your meat consumption in half, you're doing great. You're doing a great job for our neighbors and our planet. We can also recycle, we can reuse things, we can buy less, we can walk softly on this earth. We can treasure and honor the nature around us. We can seek to use the energy that's given to us from the sun by installing solar panels on our homes, solar panels on our houses of worship. Many churches and synagogues are doing this. We can work on energy efficiency. Many older buildings have very leaky windows, poor insulation, lights that are left on. There are so many ways to reduce our energy. Buying local, that's an easy thing to do. Every tomato you grow in your backyard that doesn't have to ride on a truck from California with all those emissions, every tomato you grow yourself is helping our climate. Better yet, start a community garden. Get your organization, whether it's your homeowner association or your church or the Boy Scout troop, get them to start a community garden, the school your children go to. That helps build community. It helps connect people to the earth again. And that local food, again, is helping our climate. We know they don't get enough fresh fruits and vegetables anyway, so maybe if they grow it themselves, our kids will actually eat them. We also want to learn about native plants because we know that there are non-native plants that are invasive and are destroying that delicate balance. We have the knowledge to know how to restore that balance. And there are even new techniques in farming, regenerative farming. They're actually old techniques brought forward again in looking at that cycle of how we can actually put carbon back into the soil. And some farmers are starting to do this. We have the knowledge, we just need to support it. We also need to be advocates. We need to demand more from our government. Each one of us has a voice in a democracy. There are many ways to communicate. There are emails, there are phone calls, social media. Many of our elected officials have Facebook pages and Twitter accounts. There are so many ways to make that voice heard that we need to restore nature. We need to respect nature. We need to love nature and make sure we're not tipping the balance. If we continue on the current path we're on, we will tip that balance and many more species will die. Many more people will suffer. There are so many things that we can all do. And there are many organizations who are doing it already. Sierra Club, Legal Conservation Voters, the Wildlife Federation, the Audubon Society. There's so many groups that you can join, that you can get involved with, that can amplify your voice. These groups have people in Raleigh and Washington who are watching legislation, who are going to help us know what will be harmful to the planet and what will be helpful. So get on their email lists and watch for their action alerts. Every voice is important. And this is what every major religion teaches us, that we have a right to be a part of our future, that we have the agency, the ability, and the moral imperative to leave the planet at least as good, if not better, than we found it for our children and our grandchildren. We do not want to impede their ability to prosper, to live a full life, and to live with opportunity for all. We want to help that continue. So I go back to some of the verses in Genesis. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. This is Genesis 1, verses 27, 28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. But rather than giving humans rights over nature, these verses give us the responsibility to care for nature in a way that is consistent with God's will, in a way that is consistent with loving your neighbor, loving your planet, making sure that we all have the abundance that is our birthright, but is our responsibility. Our health, our future, and our planet's health are integrally tied together. So in this month, when we celebrate Earth Day, we should seek out new ways to honor nature, to honor the delicate balance that is creation, the amazing things that make up all the life around us, and not take it for granted. If everyone takes action, changes our habits, does a little bit to start with, a little bit more, we can ensure that our children will have air that is breathable, water that is clean and safe to drink, food that is plenteous and available to all, and a future that is not full of despair, but of hope and promise and life.
As we go from this sacred space, may we celebrate Earth and our shared lives. May we recognize our connections to all that is in and on Earth. May we truly and deeply value the inherent worth of all people in this awesome, interconnected web of existence. May we commit ourselves to a new way, and may we hold our commitment true to each other, gently yet firmly. Blessed be, and amen. Go in peace.